So I just started the carnivore diet January 1st, and this is how my first week has gone. My experience has been good so far. My diet's mostly consisted of either ground beef, eggs, either over easy or hard boiled. That's been the majority of most of my diet these past days. The reason I'm going for the carnivore diet is I wanted something that was really strict because I know I need to break some habits, and I felt the carnivore diet would be something that would one it's like I think it's International Carnivore Month is what they're calling it on Twitter. And so I was like, it'd be interesting to try that challenge. I've been curious about the diet, and so in trying this, I'm trying to kind of reset my palate, kind of get kick the sweets, kick the sweet tooth, if you will. And I can tell you, so far it hasn't been too bad. The one I'd say, like, indulgence that I've allowed myself, I had some Crystal Light packets, so I've been having those, and those obviously give you a sweet taste. I'll tell you one thing that's been maybe kind of gross about it is that the Crystal Light has a lot of red dye in it, and when you're not eating as much food that has a lot of different colors, yeah, it can come out and affect your stool. So at one point, I when I looked in the toilet, I was like, oh wow, that's really red. That was troubling. But I realized I was like, no wait, we had a bunch of Crystal Light yesterday. It's probably just the red dye. And I read up, and that yeah, that could be the case. So since then, I've kicked that. I've bought myself some liquid IV. So I'll be trying those from now on. I'm no longer going to use Crystal Light if I want something with a little bit of a sweet taste to it. I get tired of just drinking water. I'm going to go for liquid IV. Now, my first week, as you might have seen scrolling on the results, I only lost 2 pounds, which might seem like, yeah, that's not too much. You're a big guy. You could have lost a lot more than that. But also, I started working out. I took a lot of December off. And um, whenever I start lifting and start working out again, I get sore. That first week or two, I'm really sore. And in the past, I mean, I've been trying to lose weight now for a while. And in the past, whenever I start up again, I can expect anywhere from a 5 to 10 pound jump up, and just more water retained, inflammation, I guess. And so I was honestly thinking to kind of break even with week one. I thought that would probably uh, be expected, but I actually lost 2 pounds. Uh, I suspect, as far as composition, it's more than that, but that's accounting for the water fluctuations and stuff. The weight I'm reporting is also a 3-day average, so it's not just the weight after on every Monday or Sunday night or Monday morning when I weigh in. It's not just the weight at that point; it's that weight and the two previous days averaged out. So that way, kind of levels out any highs or lows there. I'm also taking a weekly blood pressure measurement. I never had high blood pressure, but it's just something I wanted to monitor as I'm doing this challenge. I'm scheduled at the end of the month for a regular scheduled blood test. And in the past, all my markers have been either good or maybe slightly elevated, or in some cases, some minerals slightly low, but nothing of major concern where the doctors felt like they had to prescribe something. So we'll see if anything changes, good or bad. For my previous blood test that I had one about 6 months ago. So I'll have one here at the end of January. So if you stick around, I can tell you if there's anything that's changed from here to there. And I'm thinking about possibly doing this for at least 100 days to give it a full honest test to kind of see how I feel. Um, so I can say, outside of maybe some irregularities in the bathroom, uh, I've been feeling fine so far. I will tell you, if you go from eating a diet that has a lot of processed foods, um, going to something that's pretty clean, eating, the ground beef I'm getting is 8812. So it's a pretty lean ground beef. It's the Costco ground beef that they mix. And, just some real simple eggs. Um, Going from like eating like burgers, whatever, to that, it's could be quite of a big shift on your system. In the past, when I've gone to eating like junk to a really clean diet, I've had an issue to where I would say like I noticed my stool was more like, had like a yellow tint to it. Could even hurt at that point. and that's kind of normal. I believe it's due to your liver still being trying to process, like it's used to, it's expecting a certain load of the food that you're putting in it, and when it's not being utilized, stuff has to get wasted out, and it takes a while for that to kind of normalize. So I know a lot of people when they start an extreme diet, especially if they weren't necessarily clean eater before, and they're trying to go super clean, it can kind of shock your system. So keep that in mind. Um, but I didn't experience that this time, but I was kind of leaning into a carnivore slash keto diet throughout December. So even November, I'd have it go on it for a couple days, then slip up, and but now I'm trying to stick to that. You'll also see that, based on some of my rules, I'm also just trying to be more active daily. So I started out with 10 minutes of exercise bike, 10 minutes of rowing within the first hour waking up. I've bumped up the rowing to 12 minutes. I think I'm going to try to go up a minute or two each week up until we hit like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. We'll see what that upper zone is that I can maintain consistently and it not being too much of a time constraint. So I'll be doing these posts relatively regularly. I take a daily picture, as you guys can see. Hopefully we'll start seeing some results there. And I'll be honest, a bit nervous about putting this out, but I feel if anything, it could be some accountability. So I'm gonna share with you guys my story, good and bad. I can tell you some limitations that I have as far as physically working out and stuff. Recovering from a broken leg, about that happened essentially, let's say the end of April. So it's mostly functional as far as what I can do, but I still struggling on like doing like a full level squat without any assistance. So I typically have either like a foam box or like maybe like a 15-inch box that I have below me. So it's just something in case I can't go up, or make sure there's rings right there. So if I need it, something to help me pull up a little bit, I have assistance there. So it can be intimidating to go back to the gym. Those of you who aren't regular goers have that spot. The hardest day is always the first day, and it's not because it's the most challenging. It's because it's your own mental blocks you're putting on yourself. So if I can encourage you to go, ultimately I feel like gyms are really, really positive places. I've never had a bad experience in mine. If anything, there's people who come up and like, hey man, I can see you're working hard, keep it up. And it's hard. It's definitely hard, especially if you're someone who struggled with weight for a long time. So, yeah, I'm going to continue to be really strict carnivore for the rest of January. And I plan on maybe opening it up to add things like some yogurt or something like that, Greek yogurt, once we hit February, to kind of expand upon the carnivore. Or, maybe it's going to be more of a keto, but a clean keto diet. I'm not going to get into a bunch of junk. Going to stick to, as people say, the perimeter of the grocery store. So I hope you guys like, we'll want to see this journey. We'll see what we'll get by this time next year. And yeah, we'll see where this goes. Thank you guys.